Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Monday Memo, where I'd like to discuss the difference between knowledge and experience and how these impact our careers in different ways. So, I'd like you to first maybe imagine a bit of a stark scenario where maybe you're lying there on an operating table, you've been taken ill and a procedure needs to be performed, and you get a choice. You're there on the operating table and you have the option of choosing between a medical student straight fresh out of school with the best knowledge, the best technical education that money can buy, or you can choose from a doctor who's performed several of those operations before successfully and has a very good track record. Who would you choose? And hopefully it doesn't come to that, but there's parallels for us accountants, finance professionals there as well, because particularly at the start of our careers, we've been primed to go and seek and get as much knowledge as possible. Technical training, passing exams, certifications, and even then when we qualify, we're still asked to continue with our professional development. And if you get those emails from our institutes and accounting bodies, it's always, or actually I would say most of the time, about enhancing our technical understanding. So it's then very easy to fall into the trap of thinking the more technical knowledge we get, the more valuable we are to our organisations. But just like the medical student who's learned to perform an operation in medical school hasn't learned it in the same way as a doctor who's that real life experience out there in the field and conducted several of them previously, there's still those among us who continue to excel at this book type learning, referencing maybe old technical standards, calling things up for memory, following checklists. I mean, it's a bit like the joke of why did you order to cross the road? Because that's what it said to do in the checklist, Whereas, bad joke, I know. And then there's some of us in our profession that are more like the doctors. We've internalized our learning through experience, through application of the principles, gaining the experience, which means our thoughts then tend to flow more from our subconscious without even having to think too hard about it, just as if we're like walking down the street. And although this book type of learning we're accustomed to will give us, I suppose, the platform or the impetus to get going in our careers, the knowledge is probably not going to be as valued much by organizations as the experience. Just like if we were sitting on the operating table, people will not care too much about what we have to say if we have a lot of technical knowledge but relatively little experience. So how do we get this experience? Well, there's two main ways. We can go and seek out examples of what people did well and successfully, success stories as some people call it, or we could find examples of what not to do and avoid doing those things. And that's where the guest mentors on our Strength in the Numbers show come in, because they provide their real stories, their real world examples of what worked for them out in the field. They've broken it down into simple practical steps. But some of them also share their hard-won gains and their pain points, and perhaps share with you ideas on perhaps where you can avoid those. These are things that tend to be left out of textbooks, which tend to be focused on what to do and what to avoid, as opposed to in sort of theoretical terms, as opposed to real life terms. And because we're so used to thinking about gaining knowledge via such textbooks, and that's the way we were taught to learn at school, because that's what we've been primed to do, then our questions tend to become a lot more self-centered around how can I solve a problem, or what do I need to do to solve a problem, or what model will help solve this problem. But actually there's a much faster way of going from knowledge to experience. What we could actually do is accelerate our success in our careers and make it more of an impact for our businesses by thinking about our challenges at a much higher level that comes from gaining experience. And then the question is no longer how do I solve a problem, but who do I need to know who's already experienced this problem to help me learn and solve it. And that's again why our guest mentors come into the show. Through our networks, we bring on people onto Strength in the Numbers that have massive experience in their own areas, and we ask them the questions for you. What did they value about their experience? Why was it important to them? How they overcame it? What simple steps could someone else use to overcome a similar scenario? And what did the final result look like? I mean, naturally asking who as well as all these follow-up questions, is much faster and less painful way of learning and gaining a more valued real-world experience, which we can't find in textbooks, but we can use that to again build on our technical book learning. And then we even become more competent and we start experiencing a more fun, rewarding and enjoyable careers, and also we get to improve the positive impact we make to our businesses and people around us. Now, if you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others. Also check out our website at sitnshow.com. There you can find the most up-to-date information on other blogs, podcasts, detailed show notes with quality links to resources that will help improve the impact you can make to your organizations and also help you have a fun, rewarding and successful career yourself. This show is also going out as a podcast, so you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher and SoundCloud. And you can also reach out to me at andrew@sitnshow.com if you would like to suggest topics for us to cover, guest mentors to have on, or even just sort of feedback about what's working well for you or where we could do better to help accelerate the success you're having in your career. And again, it's you engaging is really going to help us drive on and build on the strength of numbers, not just for yourself, but also for our community. So until next time, take care and let's keep building our strength in the numbers.